Hello crazy people! So in this week project I'm going to show you how I created this composition here, step by step, from shooting to editing. Let's do it. So for this project I used my bedroom, so I lay down in my bed and I used a practical light. Practical light is something that you may have at your place that you can use for a composition, and that would be the source of light or the main source of light. I had some light coming up from my window, however I put another light, continuous light, just because there was not enough, but the main light was pretty much this one, and took another shot without this light, and then I took another shot and I put this light near my face. That's where I wanted that to be. I use my 24 to 70 millimeters lens, so I use on the 35 millimeter. My ISO was in 200, my shutter speed is 125, and my aperture was 2.8. So I choose two shots to work with in Photoshop, and now I'm going to show you how I edit it. So now guys, I'm going to show you how I edited this picture. So this is my base picture, the picture that I chose to start it with, and I made a copy because it's really good for you to make a copy anyway, so you always know how it just started. And this here is the second picture that I chose, that it's the light that I was looking for in my face. So as I say to you guys, I use my bed lamp to do this light, and this is the picture. And I masked. So after I masked, you can see I did remove the bed lamp that was just on the top. So pretty much this is my face, and the body I used was from the base image. So then I could mask easily the bed lamp out of the picture. And then I start to just edit, cropping and adding things. So I did my eyes, so just a little bit of illumination in my eyes. I used Dodgy to do that. So the Dodgy tool, which is this tool here. And then I did the burning tool. Burning tool is just for you to create a bit of contrast. Always say this to you guys. So then I create more light around the face. I just painted with a brush. And then one thing that I do, I went to the blend mode and put this layer into a blending mode that I thought would be the best for me. In this case, lighter color, as you can see right here, was my best option. And over here in the blend options, you can change the opacity. You can see that my opacity is only 30%. And then you can change here. This underlying layer here is good because it helps you to just actually light the highlights. So I wanted this to be only at the highlights, so I put it there. I splitted this because that is more natural, is affecting only the highlights and not the shadows, because usually if you just leave like that, it may be a little bit too harsh and maybe affecting, so you can see here, affecting areas that you don't want it to be affected. So you just open a little bit and it starts to be a bit more natural. You can see how natural it is and affecting only the highlights. This is a tip from me when you're creating light, okay? Then I did the curves because I wanted this picture to be darker. So I just went to curves. I'm gonna show you how this curve is. So I just put it really down the highlights and right in the middle here. Then I did a color lookup. So this color lookup that I use is the horror blue. I tend to use a lot of this horror blue is a standard color lookup at the Photoshop that you guys can use as well. And so you can see this is a super simple editing. I'm in the color grading time now, which I only do at the end, so very simple. And then I put a photo filter as well. So with the photo filter, I chose a warming filter and a really dark green color, and you can change the density here. I also use a mask, so in some areas of my picture I didn't want it to affect it, so you can always include a mask to mask off the areas you don't want that to be affected. So for the lighting that I created, I started by creating this light. This is a brush that I have, is a light sleek brush, and I got a color sample from this area here so it would match the light. And then I start to create like the sparkles, sort of sparkles, and those are sparkles that I created. You can see there more here, more sparkles. I believe I probably didn't go with the 8 afterwards. So those sparkles here, they are the standard brushes that you can find on the Photoshop. So if you go here, you go to brushes, there are special effects brush. I use those brushes here, the Kylie's brushes. So all these spatters were created by these brushes. And at the end, what I did was I went to Camera Raw, which I always do. And on Camera Raw, I put the effects that I like to put most of the time. Here I put the highlights up because that illuminated the sparkles and the light leaks a bit better. Change the saturation a little. This is something that you can experiment and see what you want to go for. I love clarity, though you can't go too crazy on clarity, so I put a little bit of clarity. And I always do, there's two things that I always do. I do sharpen a little, and I do put a effect. So I always put my vignette as well, which creates this sort of black effect around the layer. It creates a better mood. And that's it, guys. So here's the before and this is the after. It's pretty cool and it's very easy. That's it, guys. I hope you like the composition of this week. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and give me your like. Go to my Instagram to check other projects, and I really hope to see you next week. Bye bye.